Good morning, J1 here. Thank you for joining me this morning on Cobda Media TV. I will bring you a insightful morning still. I'm glad to have you be part of this program. As a matter of fact, we have a list of 100 national stories that we'll be looking at. As it regards this morning's show, AMAC Elections, that's number one on our topic, AMAC Elections, a critical project of ADC stakeholders. That's AMAC Election is a critical project for all ADC stakeholders. Matter of fact, they must see it as a joint effort to be able to outshine and prevent any form of rigging manipulation by the ruling party. They thrive on rigging. AMAC elections and the entire city election is a talking point that the opposition party must rally around the incumbent, the ADC candidate in person of Dr. Moses Paul to ensure that all forms of manipulation, rigging, are thwarted by joint collaboration of of all the opposition parties in the area council. It must be seen as a very critical project because of what the outcome will imply. It's not just Dr. Mo on the ballot. It should be seen as a collective will and project of the people. That is the reason why all relevant stakeholders at this juncture to see me to have a seat with the chairmanship aspirant, President Dr. Mo, to ensure that we get maximum support going into the AMAC election. That being said, number two on the item, Governor Yusuf insists on defection to the APC. The information reaching us all the way from the seat of power in Kano State indicates that Governor Yusuf has concluded plans to ratify his move, his defection to the APC rather. And this has not sit well with the party leader, the NMPP founder and party leader, person of Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, who felt betrayed. And he is also strengthening his tie with His Excellency Mr. Pitobi to see that he holds his ground in Kano State and beyond. Of course, you could recall that during the 2023 general election, Kwankwaso was approached for VP slot, but he declined, knowing that he is too big to become a VP to anyone. But given the outcome of the general election, it was clear to him that he should have accepted the VP position. And of course, Nigeria will not be at this point that we are today, where everybody seems to be facing economic hardship and insecurity across the country. So I believe lessons have been learned. Governor Kwankwaso, the former governor of Kano State, is very, very much willing to work with His Excellency Mr. Peter. We really look forward to how this collaboration will work out between him and Bala Mohammed and various other persons, including Senator Tambo, on how they will synergize and come to a common agreement to ensure that there is no any challenge in having to work together under the coalition. And we also expect that the ADC will be able to read the mood of the country and see to, reeling out the ticket of the Obi Kwankwaso or any northern politician who is fit to actually bring home the result, and as well as stand for the general masses in ending all forms of insecurity, terrorism, and the economic hardship in the land. Another sad story from Niger State that have always been on the news on grounds of terrorism and forms of genocide. We have it that another round of adoption taking place in Borough local government, where the Papiri school children, whom were purportedly seen to have been returned to their parents, the government house, in something that was colorated as if victory coming out from Olympic. I've had a repeat where the same school children have been re-adopted by terrorists who are alleged to have come from the Kanji Reserve, the national park over there, which the government ought to have taken a proactive measure. You understand where these terrorists are hiding, where they have developed their camps, what stops you from going there, clearing them? You have the Air Force, you have the Land Army, you have the police, you have the DSS, you have the NIA, you have all that it takes in terms of security to ensure the security of lives and property. But complacency and as well as complicity on the part of the government have not really helped in this regard. So we are calling on the Nigerian government to ensure that security is not just a reactionary approach, but a proactive approach. Also, we understand just yesterday, another round of information reaching us indicates that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar insists on contesting the primaries, alluding that nobody is stepping down for anyone. At this point, you understand, you begin to wonder as a Nigerian, why are Nigerians, particularly Africans, leaders, politicians, don't see need to put the people's interests first? You understand, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has always been a serial contestant for the office of the president. Since from the year 1993, he contested against Abiola, he lost. He contested alongside the former president of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, in 1999, where they came in as the president and vice president respectively. You know what happened? They had a fair share of 8 years in Villa. What was the contribution of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar towards the Rescue Nigerian mandate that warrants his coming back 30 years after having run for uh, presidential election in 1992? He also contested against Jonathan in 2007. He contested against Yaradua in 2007. He contested against Jonathan in 2011. He contested against Yaradua in the year 2015. He contested also against Buhari in the year 2015. He contested against Buhari again in the year 2019. He contested against Tinubu in the year 2023. At this point, it was his personal ambition that led to Peter Obi, His Excellency, leaving the PDP at 2022 when it was very glaring that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was not willing to honor the southern ticket arrangement, zoning arrangement in the PDP. And now the generality of Nigerian masses are calling on the ADC to respect zoning. And that this is the turn of the South, yet Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is still preparing to come out in 2027. At this juncture, what can we be said to be the mission of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar? Is it truly to rescue Nigeria or for his personal aggrandizement? At this point, I'll leave you to judge while I proceed. Governor Bala Mohammed is crying out in Bauchi State that the government has not successfully, the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not been able to construct even 1 kilometer of road in Bauchi State. And with the slim revenue income generation he had, he's been able to do justice for his people, providing basic amenities that the resources could carry. Yet, he's been labeled for sponsorship of terrorism, for funding terrorism, and his state Minister of Finance has been arrested by the EFCC. and he's been threatened from all fronts to join the APC as the only way to have a respite. And he has insisted blatantly while he addressed the press in Bauchi State that he's never going to be part of APC, that he will never join APC. So, and he clarified that the tax reform is fraudulent, insensitive, and unnecessary at this point. Calling on the federal government to respect the will of the people and pull down the tax reform. Those are his words. I also proceed. Wike has been boxed to a corner. Of course, you had a situation where the secretary of APC, Senator Surajuddin Ajibola Basiru, who noted that Wike is not a member of the APC and that he lacks the locus to interfere in the affairs of the APC, as it were. On this note, Wike is already fighting back that he should mind his business. Probably is eyeing the 600 billion that was allocated to Rivers State. So the tension continues in Rivers State. And what is the position of the people of Rivers State? How long will they continue to allow themselves to be traded like commodity at Alausa market or Aba international market? To me, I believe the people of Rivers State, they've been docile for so long. They've been engaged in hero worshiping and bootlicking all along for allowing themselves to be used and traded by Wike and his cronies, who use them as political chips to continue to cash out from the center. They need to have a mindset of their own and ensure that their will is carried out on the ballots. For how long will they allow themselves to be used? It is on this note that I will be concentrating on today's commentary. Commentary is centered on INEC ahead of the upcoming FCT area council election. After the commentary, I'll be going to the our participants who have joined us via Zoom to have their take on the subject matter of the day. So I'll continue with the commentary. Public commentary on the need for free, fair, and credible elections, FCT elections, from February 26, 2026. To the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, from our Coalition for the Protection of Democracy, COPDEM, date 7th January 2026, a call for free, fair, and credible, transparent FCT area council elections. We wish to remind INEC of its constitutional and moral obligation to the people of the FCT who deserve a democratic process that reflects their true will and aspirations. We express deep concern that previous elections have been marred by various irregularities, including voter suppression, manipulation, and violence. These actions threaten the integrity of the electoral process and very fabric of our democracy. We therefore issue the following warnings and calls for action. Number one, non-interference with the electoral process. INEC must ensure that no undue interference, either directly or indirectly, occurs during the election. We call on the Commission to strictly avoid any manipulation that could distort the outcome of the elections. Transparency in voter registration and accreditation. The process of voter registration and accreditation should be transparent, inclusive, and timely. The use of biometric verification systems must be consistent, and there must be no barriers to eligible voters casting their ballots. Perception of voters' rights, protection of voters' rights. INEC must take all necessary steps to ensure the safety of voters, electoral materials, and other stakeholders during the election, including election observers. Voter intimidation, violation, and harassment should not be tolerated under any circumstance. Effective monitoring and accountability. Effective monitoring and accountability. We demand that INEC strengthen its monitoring mechanisms to ensure that all electoral guidelines are followed and that any breaches of electoral laws are swiftly addressed. Independent and impartial observers should be allowed unfettered access to all stages of the election process. Unbiased handling of results. Election results must be accurately and promptly transmitted in real time. Any attempt to alter or tamper with results should be met with swift legal consequences. The FCT electorate must trust that their votes count fairly and equitably. Number 6, voter education and access. INEC must work assiduously to educate voters on the electoral process to ensure their full participation. This includes clear communication about voting locations, required documentation, and the voting process itself. In addition, there should be no restrictions on voter access to the polling units unless there are legal reasons for such restrictions. Number 7, commitment to uphold electoral integrity. The FCT elections are an essential aspect of our democracy. INEC must act with integrity to ensure that the will of the people is respected. The Commission must demonstrate unwavering commitment to fairness, impartiality, and transparency at every stage of the election. In addition, the FCT Area Council election must be model for all future elections in Nigeria in the wake up to 2027 election. As citizens and as corporate society, as well as civic, social, responsible organizations, we will continue to hold INEC accountable and will not tolerate any efforts to undermine the democratic process. We call on INEC to act in the best interest of Nigerian people, ensure that the elections are conducted in a manner that promotes peace, unity, and democracy in Nigeria. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless the FCT Area Council elections. God bless them, and thank you for listening. On this note, I'll be going to the Zoom, our participants who may be available to have 1 or 2 questions to raise in respect to the area council election, as we call on the institutions responsible for conducting election in Nigeria, which is INEC, to respect the will of the people and ensure that there is real-time transmission of election results straight from the polling unit. On this note, I'll wrap up the program by thanking all our listeners out there, our viewers. Thank you for continual being part of this program, and we request humbly that you subscribe to Problem Media TV so that you always get a prompt for our live program. God bless you and thank you for being part of this wonderful project towards the Rescue Nigeria movement. Bye-bye. God bless you. I remain your host, Mr. Akko Christian, otherwise known as Due Process. A New Nigeria remains a fundamental project for everyone to be involved. So go out there and get your PVC and ensure that you are duly registered. Thank you.